I'm going to teach you how to use Chrome DevTools. So this is going to cover how to open it, how to set it up, and how to work with it. So it's really important to get a good understanding of DevTools because you're going to be working with it a lot. This is important because most of your development work that you're going to be doing, as far as like in the way that I'm teaching you, or if you want to do any kind of like web development stuff or really work with JavaScript or anything, this is super important. And so if I can walk you through and show you how to use it, how to set it up properly, most of the work's done there. So stick along with me and we'll get through this. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, so in order to use DevTools, obviously you're going to have to open your Chrome web browser. So once you do that, what I want you to do is go to a website called example.com. It's basically just a plain website, but it's a great place where you can kind of learn how to use DevTools. And you'll understand what I mean as we go through this example. All right, so once you get to example.com, what you're going to want to do is put your mouse cursor somewhere on the screen, and then you're going to right click. Once you right click, you should be able to scroll down. There should be something that says inspect or something similar. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about right here. So I right click and then I hit inspect. And from that point, you're going to see the DevTools console open up. Now it's at this point that it's probably your first time using it, your first time opening it. So it might not look exactly the same, but I'm going to teach you the basics in how to set it up in, like, I guess the most user-friendly approach. At least it's the way myself and a bunch of other devs I've worked with had theirs set up. So I'd recommend you just follow along here. So what you're going to do is click that little settings symbol, the little gear icon. When that opens up, it's going to open your preferences. Now at the preferences, what you're going to want to do is click under theme. I like switching mine to light. It's purely preference, but I like it as light. So you'll see it switches over like that, and you can go ahead and close it. Next, what I want you to do is click the three dots icon. And then you'll see where it says dock side, this first part that I have my mouse over. Go to the second one from the left, and it'll put the dock at the bottom of the screen for you. All right, so now that it's at the bottom of the screen for you, let's just take a look at what we're looking at. So as you can see, I can move the dock up and down so that I have more space to work inside the DevTools if I want. So from this point, what you can do is you can scroll over the part that says like example domain. You can right click that and then click inspect element. And what that will do is highlight in your DevTools the specific element in the HTML that you want to inspect. So you can see here that example domain is now highlighted, and you can see where the H1 tag is example domain. And what's really cool about this is that you can edit the HTML right there. So you just double click on it, edit it, and boom, it updates it. You can do the same thing with the P tag. You can change it to whatever you want. So right now what we're doing is we just open that p tag, and that was a link. We just inspected it, and then we deleted it. So we can pretty much delete everything on the page if we want. And then all you have to do is hit Control Z or undo, and it'll return everything. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to inspect the body, which is like the main page that we're looking at. It's like the most highest up part of the web page, okay? So what's cool about this is that the body has a background color that's like some sort of gray color. Well, we can change that inside DevTools. And you can see the CSS here on the right side. It has all the CSS rules, so we can add, remove, edit, update these rules in real time and get feedback. So all I'm doing is just clicking on that little color, and then it'll pull up that box, and you can move your mouse around to change the color to whatever you want. Obviously, it's a fancy color there. And you can see I closed DevTools by just hitting that small X in the right-hand corner, and then I opened it up again. So you can enable and disable different rules. Just messing around a little more. So there's two main tabs I want you to focus on. It's the Elements tab, which is going to show you all of the HTML on the page, and then the console. Now, the console is essentially a place where you can work with a JavaScript interpreter. So JavaScript is oftentimes thought of the language of the web. And what people really mean when they say that is that essentially every web browser has a built-in JavaScript interpreter. So an interpreter is basically something that you write commands to, like programming language commands, etc., and it runs that and does something. So a lot of people don't know this, but most web browsers have a built-in JavaScript interpreter. So by opening this console, this allows us to have kind of like a place to write commands and work with JavaScript directly in the web browser. What's cool about this is you don't really need to install anything to start programming. You just need a web browser. So that's why I'm teaching you in this way to learn programming and how to code. Because if you have a web browser, chances are you have some dev tools and you have an interpreter that you can run code in. All right, so let's take a look at the console. All right, so you can run commands in the console. So we'll just do 4 plus 4, that equals 8. Here, I'm just writing a variable. I'm naming it person. Person's name is Matt. Don't worry if you don't understand these programming concepts yet. We will go over them. The main reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to have an understanding that this is literally a JavaScript interpreter. So you can do a few things here. I ran a console command called clear, and that will clear anything in the console for you so that you have a clean screen, because when you're running code, you'll have tons of different messages and stuff coming up, and it can get pretty clogged up. So if you ever need to just have a clear console, you type that clear command and you're good to go. Instead of var, now I'm typing let. This is essentially, we're just assigning names to variables. It says this identifier person has already been declared. So I'm going to clear the console, type in person, the output's going to be Matt. So I'm going to make another person. I'm going to name that person Bob. One thing to just keep in mind is when you see that thing come up that says undefined, that essentially means that whatever statement that you wrote, statement is a programming term for like just a basic instruction. But anyways, you remember when I just typed 4 plus 4 and it showed 8 and then I pressed enter and it like became more like bold and highlighted. Essentially, whatever command or something that you wrote, it didn't have any output, so it's just going to come back as undefined. There's probably other reasons for it, and you can look it up, like Google search, why does DevTools say undefined? There's probably 18 to 100 different blog posts on why that would be. I'm just trying to give you the most simplest terms. See how it starts kind of like mini highlighting that before I even pressed enter? So you already knew the output from it. I'm just showing you right now, you can press up and down arrows to scroll through your previous next commands, etc. So it's kind of like a built-in history function. So now I'm going to show you console.log, which in my opinion is probably the most important thing. So this is console.log. This is how you're going to send messages to the console. This is super important for later on and in general when you're working with code in JavaScript. You're going to want to be able to get like feedback. So you may have messages that you write in your code to say like, hey, I just sent this over the internet to something, and then it comes back, and so you're getting that information. You could log back to the console, or you can have different messages to just tell yourself where you are in running your program. Essentially, console.log is just a way to send messages to yourself. So you'll want to commit this to memory. So we essentially only need to memorize 2 commands here. We have console.log, and then we have clear. So those 2 commands, pretty simple to remember. Just commit them to memory, write them down somewhere. I recommend that you start like with a little notepad on the side, start taking some notes, or you could start a Sublime text file and just call it My Notes or something, and just write important notes in there, things that you're gonna, that you don't want to like go back and look for, things that you want to have like instant recall on, or just be able to look up a little reference for yourself, So I would definitely start like a note file, and then just in there, put that console log, and then also that clear command in there, just so that you can have that to source later. All right, cool. So now I'm just going to show you that my first website HTML. Just drag that in there, or click open with Chrome, and we can work on that. And then all you have to do is right click on that file, and you can open it in Sublime Text. So now that we both have our HTML file and our little my first website HTML running in Chrome, we can start making some changes to it to work with it locally. So you can see I'm just writing another paragraph. This is another paragraph. I'm putting a tag in there for button. And if you're unfamiliar with like all the tag names and stuff, don't forget at W3 Schools they have that HTML reference, so you can get all the different tag names. So I just tried to like refresh my browser because it's not updating. Oh, that's right. I got to save the file first. And you can see it just saved. So then I'm going to refresh the web page. Bam. There's my changes. All right, so since our web page is looking pretty bland, let's just hop back over to W3 Schools. So just open a new tab. When you get to the main landing page, just scroll down so you see the CSS part. Just click the like run example thing, and then you'll see on the left side here the style tag. Just copy that whole style tag, and then we can import that into our local HTML file and make it look a little prettier and start messing around with some CSS in there. All right, so there's our HTML file. We're just going to put that right under the first head tag. So we're going to go inside of there, drop that. So the style tag is above the body tag. Save it. And just hit refresh. Now you have CSS in your HTML on your computer. Now you're playing with power. Right click, open DevTools, and you can start inspecting things. You can see the style tags in there with all that stuff. Now you can see over here, the body tag, we have that light blue background color. Pretty sweet. Double click it, we can change the color to whatever we want, and you'll see the options there. You can just scroll through them, starts updating automatically. And so that, my friends, is how you use DevTools. In the next video, we'll probably start talking more theory, and I will be bringing you into more of the understanding code aspect. So I'll be going over different like programming concepts and whatnot. Those videos are going to probably be ones you're going to want to watch a couple times. I'm going to try to work with you in explaining like more of the fundamentals of writing code that you're going to need to understand so that you can really start programming. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. See ya. So we took some time. We learned some dev tools here, which is really cool. So now we basically have everything we need set up and ready to go. Kind of like a mini development environment, if you will, where we can start learning some fundamentals of programming. Essentially what that means is learning how to write code. And in order to do that, we're going to have to learn some programming concepts. I'm just going to warn you, it's going to get a little challenging to wrap your mind around it, but I think that you got it, okay? And I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to teach you how to do it, okay? So if you just stick with me, I think you'll be able to understand this stuff pretty easily. It's just more or less with writing code, some of it there is some like rote memorization, but it's not going to take you too long. And once you remember like a dozen concepts, and you have like pretty quick recall or the ability to like, you're aware of some different references that you can go back to and source if you forget how to do something. Having those things in place are going to just catapult you to really understanding how to code. So stick with me. I'll see you soon. Also, give me a follow, give me a like, give me a share, give me some feedback. That'd be great. I'm new to this content creation stuff, so it would be really cool to, I guess, get your feedback. All right. Thanks a lot. See ya.